So moving ahead, we'll see how to actually execute a simple web test plan in GUI and non-GUI mode, and we'll also check how to do parameterization and correlation in a web application script. So this is my script which was recorded earlier, and it has just two web-based calls. So first one I gave name as launch the URL, and second request is find flights. So how it works is in launch URL, it will launch the web application, and in the second step find flights, it will request a particular API which will take inputs as from airport and to airport as two parameters, and it will display the proper response. So as you can see, these are passing right now. So first thing what we'll do is we'll check with the parameterization thing. So first of all, what is parameterization? Parameterization is something which user actually gives input to the application. Suppose there is an application where you are actually logging in and you are providing the login ID and password. So we have to parameterize those things from the external file. So that's what we are going to do over here also. So as you can see in the second request, there are two parameters which are passing, that is from port and second is to port. What we will do is we will take these values from external file. So first of all, I will remove everything from the view result tree so that we will keep check whether we are getting the correct value or not during our execution. So first thing, go to test plan, add config element CSV data set config. So now move it up to the layer, and this is, so first of all we need to go to a proper location and we need to create a CSV file. Sorry, my bad. Right click, give any meaningful name. Suppose we are giving parameter file dot CSV. So we gave the name. Now what we need to give is we need to provide the first parameter, that is, you can see in the find flights it is Paris as from. We'll give Paris. Second is Rome. Sorry, Rome. We will save it, and again we will go to this file from port to port. Now the next part is we have created the file, then we need to mention the file name over here. So go to that particular file name, open it over here. So one important thing is we need to provide variable names also, because there are two variables, one is from airport and to airport. So first one we need to give as to, or else just we can say source destination, or to make it more understandable we can give similar type of name what we are passing it through in the this particular. So we will check, we'll go here and we'll give similar type of name p this, then we have to port. So we will give a meaningful name as p2 port. So now this is the file path, this is the variable name which we'll be using in place of actual value, and delimiter is nothing but the from which from which criteria you are actually segregating values into the file. So we are having a comma delimited file, that's why it is mentioned as comma. And this ignore first line. So in our file, if you see, there are no headings over there, no column names are there, just the plain variable values. So that's why it is termed as false. If you are giving any column names, then make it as true so that JMeter will understand, okay, we need to skip the first row because it is a table header or variable name. Okay, so next is all quoted data false because we don't have a quoted one. Recycle and end of file means if it reaches to end of file, then it will go to the first value again. Next is top thread on UF. That should be false because we are keeping it as true. Sharing mode to all threads. We just have one thread, that's why no need to mention. So just keep it at it is. Next thing. So now we need to mention over here the variable names. So first go to this, take the variable name, copy it, then replace the value with, this is the format, dollar, opening curly braces, then the variable name and the close curly braces. Similar for destination also. So in the T port also same. This, then this. So we are pretty much done. So now we will see what value we are getting actually. So we hit it. Now the application has been launched. Now it is going to find the flights. We'll see what value are going into the, sorry, go to request body. So from port is going as Paris to port as Rome. If you want to change it, if you want to change just the opposite, just go for it. Let's see what it will come. Now see, so earlier it was Paris to Rome, now it is Rome to Paris. So this is how actually parameterization works in JMeter. We can even pass these values from the user defined variables also. But if you have multiple tests, if you want to test with multiple variable, it will be better if you do it with the external parameterization files instead of using user defined variables. Okay, so moving on, what next we can do is instead of parameterization these things, we have to check whether it is coming in the response of first request or not, so that we can correlate. So now we are going to see what is correlation. So first of all, what is correlation is? Correlation is the variable, correlation is the dynamic value which we need to capture from the server response. So in order to check whether these values, the flight from port and or to port, if we are getting it in the previous request response or not. So I'm just checking with the Paris. So yes, we are having this. See, this is the one. This is from port to port. What we can do is we will put a post processor over here just to check. That is regular expression extractor. We'll give it a name as to port. Okay. Now we can disable this one because we are not going to use. So we are giving a meaningful name as P from port, okay, and then give a name as the same, and we need to pass the regular expressions. So to do that, what we can do is we can copy this thing and we can paste it over here. Okay. One more thing is that it should be unique, then only it will actually work, or it will get some random stuff. So before using it, we will just check whether we are getting a proper reflection value or not. So what we are passing is, we are passing this value, right? Just copy it, paste it. Just remember, we need to check the regular expression tester over here and then test it. And then we should mention the right boundary also. So in right boundary, we need to mention testing, or see. So now this value should work. So I'm giving a meaningful name as this is the source and destination regular expression. This is P from port. So template is something we need to mention $1. So $1 means that, so we need to capture this value, right? So that's why the first matching it should go and capture it. That's why it is mentioned as $1. Match number is something that there are multiple option values, as you can see in this value, right? So this is something we are getting it over here. We are getting multiple values over here, right? So from match number 1 to 12, 13, many are there. So that's why we need to mention which match number should we need to give over here for this particular variable. Default value as null. So this default value, if it does not find anything, then we'll get the default value from here. Similar way, P from port is done. We need to give one more, that is from P to port. Now I'm giving it as 2, or else yeah. So first one is from first value we are getting, and for the second 2 port we are getting the match number as second. So we'll check, we'll run it once, whatever we are getting through P from port and P from port. So now, as you remember that we have actually disabled CSV data setup config. So these values should be coming in from the regular expression extractor. So there is some mismatch because as you can see that in 2 port something else is going. So we need to check whether P2 port why it is coming as 2. Okay. So Paris came, right? But for 2 port it is not coming the proper value. Okay, so that's why this is the problem. We need to give the proper name because we have passed the incorrect name. That's why it is not taken that value. Okay, so I'm refreshing this one again and I'm running it once again just to check whether, oh, still there is some problem. Okay, this is P2 port. Let's check why it is not coming. So go for this one. Ideally, Philadelphia should come over here, but okay, we can do one thing that we can mention it as 0. Okay,
This conference will now be recorded.
so now we have got the issue actually. The name which we are passing over here in the two port variable was wrong. That's why it is not picking up the value. Now it has been fixed. So I'm running it once again. So ideally the from port should be Paris and to port should be Philadelphia. That's what we've got over here. So next thing we can check is how to randomize value. So for randomization, we just have to mention it over here as 0. And for this one also we need to mention as 0. So just to check whether we are getting the values randomly or not, I am running it for 2 times. Okay, so I'm going ahead with the execution now. So for the first iteration, let's check what it came. See, for the first one it came as Cairo and London. For the next one, it is Philadelphia to Philadelphia. Yes, this is just the demo one, so we can skip and this part why the to and fro is same as source and destination. Just we are focusing mainly on how to do the correlation and parameterization thing. That's why we can skip this thing, those logics. So now this is done. The randomization is done. So now we are clear that how to actually capture the correlation part from the server response and how to pass it in the next request. So this is pretty much it. And so next thing is how to actually do the assertion thing. So for assertion, what we can do is first we need to actually check for a particular text thing which we can assure that it will always be coming on the page. So what we can do is I'm checking for a, so this is my title. So I'm actually going for this one. So now to add a session to a page, go to that particular request, then go to assertion, then response session, and then go to substring, add, and blaze demo. So now if I run it, I'm giving it a meaningful name, page title, comment as the value. Now I'm removing everything and I'm running it again. So it is passing, it means the assertion is passing right now. So now I'll do some negative kind of testing. So I'll just make it running for once. Now in the assertion, so we know that place66 demo is not present on that page. So I'm running it. So now we'll check why it got failed. So it is saying that it failed because test expected to contain place66 demo. So this is it. This is how actually assertion works. These are the very short examples because we are on a very initial level of learning JMeter. Just we need to focus on smaller things right now. So now what I'll do is I'll make that thing again to place66 demo. Save it. Yeah, so this is done. Yeah. So next thing, what next we have is how to actually uh, execute this test and export the values, export the result values into external file. So for that, if we are running it through GUI, what we can do is we need to go to, we'll add one more listener, that is aggregate report, and the scope should be in the, I'm disabling view result tree and making aggregate report as this one. And now, so next thing is if we want to actually export everything, I'm running it for one user, scheduler for 100 seconds, no startup delay, nothing, just forever. Now next is file name. So for file name, we can go to this value. Now what I'm doing is I have one folder over here. I'm creating one more folder as demo underscore results. I'll save everything over here. I'm just copying this one and giving a file name, demo execution underscore run one dot gtl. Now it is pretty much done. Now we will hit on the execution button. So once we hit it, now it is going and going. We check whether we, so this is the file which got created. As you can see, its size is now 0 KB because it is still running. Once this execution is finished, then we'll get the data into the file. Okay. So meanwhile, what I can do, we got some 100 odd requests. So I'm stopping this execution right now just to check whether we are getting the values in our report or not. This is my log file. As you can see that there is 14 KB size has been done. So this is how it looks. First is timestamp, then elapsed is nothing but the response time, label is the transaction name, response code is the response code which we are getting through the server, then the server response message whether it is 200 OK or internal error or something like that, then the thread name, then the data type, and whether it is success or not, if there are any failure messages, number of bytes sent, and so on. So this is my JMeter log file got generated. So now if I want to open these details, there are two things that ideally we should run our execution in ongoing mode. So similar kind of log will be generated. So now as we have executed in the GUI mode, that's why you can see the data in the uh, listener right now. What I am doing is I'm just adding one more listener just to show how to actually get the data from existing JTL file. So what I can do is I'm just copying the path of the newly generated JTL file and giving it to the newly created listener. Now I'm just giving it and clicking on enter. So as you can see that after pressing enter, all those value came into the this new aggregate report. New report. I'm giving it as a new report. Now, if I want to save this file in a CSV format, because as you can see, the log file will contain all the data. So just to make sure that it should be properly formatted and it is easily readable. That's why we need a proper format and template. So we are saving this table data as give a meaningful name, demo execution run1.csv. Now save it, or better to save it somewhere where we have everything. So I'm just copying the file path. .csv. Saved it. Now if you want to open this one, you just want to go there and open it. It will open in Excel. It will show you everything in the proper format. So now you just can have some set of, if you want to just go ahead and do some formatting, you can go ahead and do it and just share it with your shareholders. So this is a quick overview actually how to do execution in GUI mode. Now we are moving forward with the non-GUI mode. So in non-GUI mode, we have to actually disable every thing which are not required. So I'm just removing it over here. Now, so to execute, we need to go to the documents where the JMeter has been installed. Then go to bin, write cmd and the bar, and then we need to write the command to execute JMeter. As we are going ahead with the non-GUI mode, that's why JMeter -n, then -t, that is after t there will be test plan. The test plan path we need to give, then give the name. Yeah, so this is the name of my, so -t, then the test plan path, then -l, then the log file path, give any meaningful name, that is demo execution non-GUI run 2 dot. So we are having some issues right now. Okay, So it is saying that could not open create press root node software Java software root this. So I need to check that. Okay, I need to check that why it is not executing in the ongoing mode. I'll maybe in the next class we will see that. I need to check why it is not actually going forward. So as for today, this is it. This is how actually it should work. And I need to check why it is throwing an error. We will get back onto this in the next class. Thank you.